an excellent place for contemplation. One has the best view of the cathedral from here. Mesmerizing, wouldn't you say? An impeccable manifestation of the God Emperor's sublimity.
Hello and welcome to Rogue Trader. I just skipped the character creation for you guys. It's literally just me picking Officer and Psyker background, Forge World origin. I'm a Biomancer because that's what I wanted to do for this build. But we're jumping right in with dialogue. How do we want to play this guy? Frankly, such excess can be tiring at times.
I believe there are those among us who share that sentiment. But such is our duty, is it not? To overcome base weaknesses and desires, so as to excel in our service to the God Emperor, the master of humanity. Allow me to introduce myself. Kunrad Voigtveer, Master of Whispers, in the employ of Her Ladyship Rogue Trader Theodora von Valencius, at your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
Then just, my name is Ulysses.
My regards, Master. Or should I say, von Valencius, scion of a blessed Rogue Trader house in the service of the Imperium. Perhaps this kinship came as a shock to you. Understandably so, given that all evidence of the connection was lost in the generations separating you and Lord Captain Theodora. It required no small effort on the part of Her Ladyship's servants to discover and verify this blood tie, which has now made you one of the heirs of this dynasty.
One thing I have to point out that I really like is you notice Imperium is highlighted in a yellowish orange. It's cool that you can then switch to this and get a glossary of like, oh, the Imperium of Man, the galaxy-spanning interstellar human empire ruled by the living god who's known as the Emperor of Mankind. This is such a good introduction for people to 40k because all of the really critical kind of setting and lore pieces are just put right up there. Oh, you encounter someone mentioning the Omnissiah. Well, you can then open the glossary, see, oh, this is what the Omnissiah is. Oh, this is what the Astra Militarum is, or anything like that. It's very nice to see that so that people can really get into the setting without stumbling through being like, I'm being hit with words that mean nothing to me. Trying to remember which one of these actually continues the story. Because Master Whispers, he's essentially the intelligence man, making sure there's no betrayals within the Rogue Trader ship. You say I am one of the Rogue Trader's heirs, so there is another candidate.
There is. And you will meet him soon enough.
Why am I aboard this vessel? Why have I been brought here?
So that you may fulfill your blood duty. Whatever obligations you had before, they are henceforth null and void. By order of the Lord Captain, you have been requisitioned to serve the Rogue Trader, indeed blessed by the God Emperor. Your former position may have been different from conventional service as part of one of the institutions of the Imperium, but from now on, a different fate awaits you. One chosen for you by the Lord Captain. I advise you to come to terms with this reality as quickly as possible.
Lord Captain, a strange title for Lady Theodora.
Such are the traditions of the Imperium. Lord Captain is the title that was established in the annals of the Lex Imperialis. at the time when the first rogue traders entered the Gold Emperor's service, and therefore, it is sacrosanct.
Yep, Lex Imperialis, Codex of Imperium Laws. And don't really need to do the tell me about Lady Theodora, essentially, so we'll just... I assume you had some goal in mind when you decided to seek me out. Let's address it.
But of course, I have come to invite you to a meeting with Lady Theodora. I imagine you have many questions for your patroness, and I'm sure she has just as many questions for you. It is regrettable that you haven't yet had an opportunity to speak. It has been an arduous voyage thus far. The Lord Captain and Master Edelthrad von Valencius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them there.
Oh, and just so you can see, like, my character better. Got the gold forehead, gold bottom jaw. Tried to put what I could into Fellowship because Forge World gives you a penalty, and considering he's an officer, he's going to hinge pretty heavily on Fellowship. Just off rip, my main goals are going to be boosting Fellowship and Willpower, because those are going to be my Psyker abilities and my actual class abilities. Past that, maybe some agility and toughness, definitely ballistic skill so I can just range guys. I have to also check what Psyker weapons kind of scale off of. Oh yeah, you also get to hear the guy talk a ton, because reasons. And I do apologize for that, I don't know how to really change it. Yeah, none of these guys have anything worth really going over, just really just setting.
Is there money to be made?
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I didn't know if there was any pickups in this part yet.
One of the von Valencius trophy rooms. Perhaps you would like to take a look around after your audience with the Lord Captain.
What's happening? Run! The servitors have gone berserk!
Alright, we don't have anywhere... Normally we'll be able to place all our characters throughout a certain area, but we don't have that because we're ambushed. Alright, how do we want to play this? Well, first off, we have a neat little tarantula turret here. Oh, I have to move closer at the moment. Then we have a Lehman Russ. Looks to be a standard Lehman Russ, not a special pattern. And then some mysterious artifacts of dubious origin. We'll inspect the servitor. Can see everything we want to know. What is armor, dodge chances, stats. We can break down, like, what does exploit do? Gives an operative increased damage when they hit a target. Frenzy, bonus movement points, an additional attack per turn. Injury. Does a thing. Which just is really nice, just being able to see every individual thing. But we're gonna move. Actually, we can just kind of ballpark a range. That's an 80% chance, but I don't like being frontline. So we'll go here. Do you have a melee weapon? Or I can't inspect that guy. No, these are range guys. Can't inspect anybody, so we're just gonna be eyeballing a lot here. Well, then I'm gonna give myself strength and toughness. And you can see bottom left here, this is veil degradation, so the more Psyker powers you use without letting it kind of decay over time, it causes perils of the warp, and you can accidentally summon chaos demons. You can die, had that happen. You can just knock over people. It's interesting. We'll give that guy a voice of command, and we'll just pop shots. Yeah, I expected that one. Conrad is a operative. They're really good as like snipers because you just stack a ton of exploits. It's what I do with one character we'll get later on. Stack a ton of exploits, gave him like a las rifle, and I could do 80 damage in a single shot. It would take a number of turns, but the way the first few characters you get pan out, you get 2 operatives, so you're just continually spamming them. I'm just gonna move over here.
It's as good as done.
And yeah, you can just shoot friendlies. I could shoot Conrad if I wanted, but I think he's actually protected at the moment, but you can do it because for one of the backgrounds, I think Commissar, you get the ability where you can shoot teammates, and it actually can provide buffs. Yeah, I'm expecting this guy to suck early on. I think this is how my first fight went too, with my main character is just whiffing every shot. Conrad, you wanna pop a shot here? Help a homie out? Because I'm having to just be flicky with the blicky, and I don't exactly trust my odds. I'm rolling 20s out of an 80 here, and it's real rough.
What suspiciously poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the rogue trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages between the upper and lower sectors of the residential decks. If this is a deliberate attack, it should stop the culprits from advancing their plan. I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have no difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
Yep, Tarantula Sentry Gun. And then Lehman Russ Battle Tank. Yeah, all these are just like Golden Amalgam, Black Obsidian, or Black Shard resembling Obsidian, Violet Alloy. Weird transparent rock. Coral, but not coral. And crystal with veins that hums. Let's see, any loot? Nope, because we'd see it on the map.
Keep your wits about you.
I'm actually gonna see something. Options. We'll try never, see if he just doesn't talk anymore. Because I always find it tedious and doesn't offer anything of value. Oh, I actually have to voice this. Okay. That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora, says the man dressed in a peculiar garb. His voice tight with tension, his face, half of which is covered by sin skin, is twisted in a grimace of displeasure and disbelief. Assimilation into the trade structure would be political and economic suicide, practically an admission of heresy. The tall, gray-haired woman pins him with her gaze, her cybernetic eye flashing crimson. Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation no worse than my seneschal could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Ion 6, Ethelthrad? I'm just going to listen in silence. While you are considering your answer, Ethelthrad, I wish to speak with someone else. Perhaps I shall hear something more interesting than incoherent mumbling. Theodora nods in your direction. Approach. What is this? Ethelthrad turns to you and regards you with indignation. Is this someone from your retinue, Theodora? Do you permit your people to interrupt your conversations with such a fashion? Dude, I stood here silently. I give that permission to those with something of substance to say. Let us see if it was worth it. Theodora tilts her head, her lips stretch into a cold smile. This is Ulysses, the second candidate of my title, for the title of my successor. The rogue trader regards you with a look that is imperious, predatory, and oppressive. Step forward. Let me get rid of that. Okay, consider this hypothetical situation. Ion 6, a new world on the fringes of the Coronis expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure? Then, we automatically, because our skill is so high, we succeeded in both of these, Lore of Xenos and Lore of Warp. Or we can pick just, nuke the planet. Just pour everything you can into it. Go yourself and figure out what's up. Use some psychers to get the answer. or investigate if there's normal Xenos there. I don't think any answer really matters. I think we get the same response regardless. So we'll just go lore of Xenos. Those spirits could well be the natives' name for dangerous aliens. I would verify if that is indeed the case, and if the population of Ion 6 engages in Xeno worship. Theodora arches an eyebrow. Reasonable and prudent, however, chasing after ethereal creatures may prove a rather long and fruitless endeavor. Ethelthred scoffs. Apart from Xenos, an untrodden planet might be teeming with myriad horrors that are far more dangerous and difficult to eradicate. I suspect that you are simply unaware of their existence. I gave a straight answer to a simple question, which, as I understand, was still more than you could do, Ethelthred. The color drains from Ethelthred's face, which distorts his features further. Insolent, ignorant upstart, how dare you? Ethelthred, Theodora's tone renders him silent. I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me, then, why my senior congregator is still dawdling about the officer's deck instead of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in his purview. I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence was such a profound effect on me that I well forgot the time. Ethelthred bows ceremoniously and takes his leave without sparing you another look. Theodora's gaze follows him as he leaves, then she turns to you. So, why are you here? There are questions that I wish to have answered, or... yeah, we'll just go questions I wish to have answered. You are direct, I approve, but you will have to wait. There is something I want you to understand first. My name is Theodora von Valencius Massimo of Scaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity, and my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic, the warrant of trade kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness beyond the Imperium and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign and bode death and ruin to us all. It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with all there is to be found thereon, resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary government or commander could dream of amassing, and you, Ulysses, are one of those with the von Valencius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes. One of, does this mean there are other heirs? Naturally, some have yet to arrive on board, but you have had the pleasure of meeting one of them. Ethelthred may be somewhat disconcerted by the scale of the responsibilities that may potentially fall on his shoulders. However, I have a good feeling about him as a candidate. Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of a warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of their closest ally. Theodora sighs and looks away pensively for a brief moment. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Conrad Voigtver served me for many years before he made his mistake. If you are satisfied with Ethelthred, then what sense is there in having this conversation? Why are you wasting your time on me? Theodora shakes her head. Impatience. I am rather fond of impatient people. They're not as quick to resign themselves to circumstance, and more eager to show initiative. Even if I do choose Ethelthred as my successor, I will still require loyal advisors. The skills and knowledge you acquired in your former life may prove invaluable here in the Coronis Expanse. It says in your profile that you bear the brand of sorcery, albeit sanctioned sorcery that is permitted in the service of the Imperium. I am accustomed to the presence of Psykers at my side. More than that, I value their unique abilities highly. Perhaps that is why I am so intrigued by Ethelthred's candidacy. A rogue trader Psyker could achieve great things indeed. However, Psykers are fragile creatures, and as such, I would rather have a replacement standing ready in the event that something happens to Ethelthred. Moreover, Theodora chuckles slightly, even changing your family name, will not rid you of the fame you previously garnered. I hope it will also help you bring glory to the von Valencius dynasty to which you now belong. The Master whispers, it's just like, yeah, he's related, but he screwed up, so he doesn't get a shot at being big man on ship. I am ready to take on this sacred purpose. Oh yes, you would be, wouldn't you? The question is, am I ready to choose you over the rest? You came aboard hours before the warp jump and have yet distinguished yourself in any way. As things currently stand, I have doubts that you are suitable for the role of rogue trader. Thank you for clarifying. May I ask my questions now? The Vox affixed to Theodora's attire suddenly comes to life, but all you can hear is unintelligible noise. Theodora winces, shuts off the transmission, and gives you an imperious nod. I have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge. We'll just do this one. An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew. Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance, or it could be the warp playing tricks on us in spite of the Geller field. Or perhaps there is something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all, Theodora laughs nonchalantly. The gray-haired officer gives the rogue trader a look of cautious disapproval. Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread about by uneducated riffraff. Enough, Abelard. Such heresy amuses me. Edaira eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. She turns to you. This ship is thousands of years old. It has enough hidden nooks, malfunctioning cogitators, and unused compartments to make ignorant folk speak of specters, dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live. And I have no more questions. In that case, I shall head to... Theodora's Vox awakens once more. This time you pick up shouting. The Lord Captain freezes, listening to the Vox cast, then nods and draws her weapon. Disturbances reported on the adjacent decks. Seneschal, if the need arises, protect the new blood. She glances at you. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated. And another ambush so we don't get any positioning. And Theodora with the plasma pistol.
Reduced to dust. One fewer target.
Mort. Mort, we gotta kill the heretics, Mort.
Just a minor setback.
Yeah, I apologize for me reading if I screw up. I can read fine, I can't read aloud very well. I do my best, but sometimes I fumble. And I always feel weird doing it because I'm just like, why did I screw up this thing? I can read it fine, I know what's being said, my brain just kinda starts to add in a couple words like, oh yeah, you know what the next word's gonna be, and it's like, no I don't. I actually don't, I'm not a psychic. I'm just blindly tossing some words out there hoping for the best. We'll actually get to cover, which I didn't even mention. The cover is a lot like XCOM, if you played it. So you got half cover, full cover, and it is related to where you're being shot from. If you're being shot from, like, Abelard to me, I get a bonus to cover. If someone like Theodora shot at me, I don't get a bonus. It's all pretty straightforward, by the numbers design. Give him a buff. We'll give... Can I even buff anyone, or... Oh, I just get to shoot people and hope for the best. Yeah, 45% odds, which are, like, it's the only... Oh no, I can shoot this guy. is a little clunky on PlayStation trying to select a square. 34%. How is he an 86? I figured they'd have like a height advantage. Alright. My little stub revolver just
Reduced to dust. I took care
Yeah,
of
I
this
love
one.
using Abelard. His abilities are just insane. He can put out so much damage. I'm telling you here now, if you play this, he is a fantastic tank. I just run him in, just balls out. Use like Idira's, or I think that's how her name is pronounced. She can give a dodge bonus that's permanent for the run, or for the combat. Slap that on him, and just have him go to town. His parry skill, if you just pour into it, he'll just... every swing is just going to be him bouncing it right off, and then just backhanding people left and right. And it's great for bigger enemies, because I can just put him somewhere and he'll just block them, and then they'll just keep swinging, getting parried, and then he just beats them to death. Goombai, Heretic Brawler. Love how everybody else is just kind of standing out in the open. I'm just hiding behind a cogitator, like, don't worry guys, I'll be safe. $205 HP, God.
One fewer target.
Oh yeah, and he gets charge, which lets him run at someone, do a melee attack, and it doesn't count as a normal attack, so he gets a second attack. Theodora waves her hand in a commanding gesture. Mort, take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single Horson survive. The rogue trader turns her eyes to you. Didn't bat an eye when the scum burst onto the deck, Not bad. I have seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel. She looks at the Vox in her hand. All you can hear is lifeless static. The incident with the rampaging servitors may be connected to what is transpiring now. Possibly. Quite likely. Theodora flinches and flicks the switch on her Vox a few times. We will investigate at a later time. Right now we need to isolate the affected compartments and try to assess the situation. What are your orders? She breaks eye contact with you. Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the Arch-Militant requires aid, and be quick about it. Okay, so it's just me. Massive golden structure never stops moving for a moment. Light bounces off the orbits and figures representing celestial bodies. Ooh, an astrolabe, I think it is. Or, I think that's also kind of a gyroscope. We got dudes just popping shots. Yeah, I think that having him shut up thing actually works, so now I don't have to hear him randomly be like, ha ha! Like, dude, I don't care. You're walking, you don't need to proudly proclaim something. Oh, I guess I do the voice for this too. Kunrad lets out a sigh of relief upon seeing you. Thank Providence you are alive and well. Always on time, eh, Kunrad? The moment we finish chasing the riffraff around the deck, you show up. Always just after the fighting's done. You could have set your chrono by it. Kunrad pointedly looks away from the Archmilitant to you. Mort, pull yourself together. The Archmilitant looks back at you. Where did the Lord Captain send you to chivvy us along? We are all done here. I'll report right away. Mort pulls his Vox from the belt and hurriedly reports on the situation. Master of Whispers, what is happening on my ship? The Voxnet is silent, the Vox Master is not responding, armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my Archmilitant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. Is this a severe case of warp madness? Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report. I have not yet received word from the Engineerium regarding any Geller field failures, but communications were already unstable half an hour ago, and now they have ceased altogether. Whatever the cause may be, the consequences are spreading fast. I am receiving scattered reports from the middle decks, and the only Vox casts from the lower bays are the one-way heretical gibberish. Voitver pauses. That the madmen have already reached the officer's deck suggests that this outrage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny. We must provide immediate assistance to those still on the middle decks. Perhaps we might stop this wave from spreading. First, we have to confirm that the bridge and the navigator's sanctum are secure, and I have the means to do both things at once. Her expression changes as her eyes flash ominously. Theodora looks at Voitver. Ethelthrad, where is he? I must know if he is unharmed. A Psyker aboard a ship that is potentially being assailed by the warp could pose a greater threat to himself and others than a whole army of madmen with improvised weapons. I have tried to locate him, and the last thing known about his movements is that he arrived on Transitional Deck 18. Blast it. Master of Whispers, find Ethelthrad immediately. Seneschal, locate Tlas, and the Sister of Battle. Both are to remain at my side. Archmilitant with me. I must go to my study, and it appears we might encounter more heretics along the way. Theodora glances at you thoughtfully. If I may, Lord Captain, Voitver's voice is soft and cautious. Transitional Deck 18 is at the heart of the disturbance, and if our goal is to bring Ethelthrad back, I could use some support. After all, I am not as adept at directly confronting enemies of the house as the esteemed Archmilitant, and taking into consideration Ethelthrad's Psyker powers. Then it is settled. Ulysses, find Ethelthrad and bring him here in whatever state you find him. This elevator, she points at the massive doors, leads to restricted compartments such as my personal chambers and the bridge. Do not let me down. I require you both. Do you understand? In whatever state, what does that mean? Conrad coughs. We're in the warp. Considering the attack, there could be disruption in the Geller field and the infiltration of malevolent forces onto the decks. Psykers can react to such things in the most unpredictable ways. Enough, Master Whispers. You must not allow my heir to turn into a mindless mutant and to perish under Enforcer fire. Do whatever it takes to bring Ethelthrad back to me. I can't promise that I won't lose our dearest heir somewhere along the way. Theodora shakes her head. Conrad, keep an eye on our spirited guest. You are personally responsible. Mort! Voitver gives you a nod. Are you ready to head to 18? It's a long walk, and you don't even have proper gear. I have a proposition. Since I am the more important person here, you can go in the front and shield me from potential threats. He smiles faintly. Certainly, Lady Theodora would be devastated if she were to lose one of her precious heirs, but that is no longer relevant. With a pop and sharp crackle, something hits you in the abdomen, and you are consumed by an unbearable, gut-wrenching pain. I promised you a special dynasty, it's time to fulfill it.
Careful, careful. Be gentle with our guest. He has an important mission to complete during our visit to the Warrant Chamber. And for that, I need him breathing. Oh, you are back with us, I see. Delightful.
Void for you two-faced scum, you are the one behind this mayhem.
How perceptive of you. I'll help you with the next insight. I need you here for your blood. You have the option to share it voluntarily, or I will squeeze it out of you myself. We are in the anteroom of the Warring Chamber, this void ship's most hallowed vault. There, beyond those gates, lies the relic that gives Theodora all of her power. The sacred Warrant of Trade. Only one obstacle remains on my path to obtaining it. The gates of the chamber are guarded by the Sentinel, an ancient device that will only open the door to a true heir of the dynasty. I expected to do this part myself, but never mind. You will offer your blood to the Sentinel.
We'll go with this. What is it, inbred? Is your blood too thin for the Sentinel?
On the contrary, the Dwarf's blessing has raised me too much above your kind, Fon Valencius. The Sentinel refused to submit to me. But you can help. After all, isn't that what family is for?
What sorry, pathetic excuse do you even have for your apostasy, you sordid, wretched piece of Grox shit?
Wretched? What do you know about wretchedness? Theodora's cur. Are you hoping to buy a grain of her indulgence with your blind loyalty? Oh, I know this delusion. But thank the gods it no longer has power over me. Humanity can rot. I no longer serve mortal kind. Once my work is done, I'll make that pompous wench, Fon Valencius, watch as I sacrifice her entire dynasty and commit their fate to the gods. And you will be the instrument by which I will accomplish this righteous act.
The blade flashes in the dim light and drops of your blood appear on your palm. For a brief moment you feel nauseous, your head is spinning, and then quiet whispers begin to flood your mind. More and more sourceless voices echo each other, drowning out your own thoughts, replacing them with a singular urge. Go to the gate. Go to the gate. Go to the gate. Fight the voice in your head. Get out, I'm not your puppet. The voices in your head giggle and mock your desperate outcry. You feel this intruding influence forcing you onto your feet, and making you take a step towards the gates looming in the center of the chamber. Oh, we got a decent chance on that tech use. In the gateway arch, you see a cogitator with a human likeness built into the front panel. As you approach, the torso twitches slightly. This is a servitor, an obedient automaton created from a lobotomized human being. The Sentinel turns its head to you, one of its eye sockets lighting up with two ember-like irises. Examine the device. Tech use test succeeded. You carefully inspect the design of the gate cogitator. What immediately catches your eye is the strange alloy that was used for material for the machine's components, some of which are unfamiliar to you. You suspect this might be some kind of archaeotech relic. The servitor on the gate begins to move. With the screeching and groaning of metal, it leans forward, closer to you. Its lower jaw opens with a drawn-out shriek, much wider than the jaw of a living human could. The servitor's mouth is filled with sharp metallic fangs that glint in the dim light. The vid screen to the right of you lights up, showing strings of mysterious symbols on a green background. A whisper runs through your consciousness, demanding sacrifice. The voices that filled your head after Void wounded you with His blade did not go away. On the contrary, their source coiled itself into a tight knot somewhere in the depths of your mind. Place my hand into the sentinel's maw. The sentinel's jaw clamped around your hand, puncturing your skin and sinking into your flesh. A few dark drops fall into the servitor's throat, and immediately you hear humming as the servo motors start up and the pumps stir into motion. The vid screen of the cogitator flickers. Several long minutes pass, the sentinel's jaws remain closed, and you are beginning to feel sick. Perhaps if you were to lean against the gate, you could catch your breath. Even then, close your eyes and pretend none of this ever happened.
High levels of caustic humors. The subject is in a state of heightened stress. Do you require assistance?
You do not understand where this quiet voice is coming from, crackling like static. Is it the sentinel, the cogitator? Is it a figment of your weary mind? Whichever it is, you can clearly hear every word. Yes, I do require assistance. Pain shoots through your head and subsides just as quickly. It would seem the entity coiled in your consciousness does not have the ability to do you any real harm.
Request accepted. Initiating defense protocol.
Well, there is still another way.
More tarantula guns just ripping dudes up.
Escort the child of the house to safety.
I need to contact someone, preferably Theodora.
Voxcast frequencies disrupted. Initiating setup. Establishing connection.
In place of the mechanical screeching, the servo skull's vox projects the voice of Theodora von Valencius. Distorted and ridden with static, yet still recognizable beyond a doubt. Voxmaster, restore communication with the navigator's sanctum. I am trying to contact the bridge. If anyone can hear me on this frequency, regroup all available forces and head to the upper decks at once. I repeat, regroup all available forces and head.
Communication protocols breached. Signal latency assessment unavailable. Unable to establish two-way connection.
I need a weapon. I am utterly defenseless.
Distance from the current location to the nearest arsenal. Initiating situational calculations.
What madness is happening here? Who are you? Who addresses me?
Temporary obnubilation following acute stress. Mobile unit of the Warrant Sentinel standing by.
Yeah, it's a servo skull that's just like it says, the mobile unit of the Warrant Sentinel. So, doing the, are you the Warrant Sentinel? Yeah, it is. Lead me away from here.
Middle and upper decks. Assuming the probability of safe placement in areas of concentration of armed units. Calculating. To prevent unauthorized units from breaching the warrant chamber, preemptive sealing must be initiated. The mobile unit will start executing the received order immediately after the safety of the warrant is secured.
And that was just, hey, here's how to check your quests. Which is just, boom. Come on, buddy.
Master, whatever are you doing in the warrant chamber? How did you... Throne preserve me! What is the meaning of this?
Conrad Voidver is a traitor. When we parted ways on the officer's deck, he stunned me somehow and brought me here.
What?
He intended to take revenge on Theodora for something, and trying to reach the warrant was somehow part of that plan.
Oh, holy God, Emperor! I presume he is the one responsible for the mutiny. And, Master, I wish to remind you that you are to refer to the Lord Captain as Lady Theodora.
Voidver openly admitted that he is the mastermind behind the mutiny.
Saints' blood! Then it is small wonder that the heretics are so well organized. I thought his order to seal the passages between decks was his attempt to stop the attackers from spreading to other levels. But now I see the real reason. It was to stop the enforcers from intervening. At least you are alive, and now safe, Master. Alas, I doubt we can afford to look for a compartment to sit out this disaster. You're in a bad way. I can treat your wounds. I have a Medicaid kit with me. And, for the love of the throne, now is not a good time to be walking around the decks without means of self-defense. Here.
Okay, so now we can go inventory, equip that, Nito armor, give him 2 medkits, cause might as well.
That is a noticeable improvement. Now you're prepared for the trials ahead. The lower decks are teeming with heretics instigating the rabble to revolt. But that is the least of our problems. The ship's enforcers are rounding up the scoundrels and suppressing the resistance. The situation on the middle decks is much worse. All those strike teams have already been dispatched there. All communication with the bridge and the engineering bay was lost. So, apart from scattered voxcasts, we have no information to go on. But that is not the worst of it all. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the navigator and the master helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the warp and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. If we can manage that, some aboard this vessel may yet survive.
What exactly has gone wrong with the translation?
I am no helmsman. Oh, God Emperor preserve me, navigator. However, I've spent my entire life aboard void ships equipped with warp drives, and I know that portents such as these do not bode well. It could be that the Gellerfield has faltered. Perhaps the navigator was struck down by warp corruption and is fighting for the last shreds of his humanity as we speak. If we get thrown off course, we will be forever lost in the war. Naturally, we would likely not have long to live in that scenario. But I will not resign myself to such an outcome just yet.
How did you find me?
You sent me a Vox message. Specifically, a Voxcast on the officer's frequency, which I had the good fortune to receive. You mean to say you did no such thing?
I think the Warrant Sentinel may have sent that message. It appeared when I opened the chamber.
Warrant Sentinel? The Lord Captain barely ever ventures down to the chamber, and I was at her side only once or twice when she did. And I did not see anything of the sort. The Warrant Chamber is an ancient and rather sacred mechanism that the ship's tech priests treat with the utmost reverence. I assume that whatever it is that you did, you must have activated certain processes and caused the Sentinel to awaken. But then, why did none of it happen when Lady Theodora did the same?
I heard one of Theodora's Voxcasts.
Lady Theodora's. Which one? The last one I received was about the Navigator's Sanctum, and that was a good while ago. In any case, let us hope that the Lord Captain is well, and safely in charge of the ship's defense. In the meantime, we must do all we can to prevent the ship from veering off course.
The Navigator's Sanctum. Very well. Will you lead the way?
Absolutely. Let us proceed.
A wave of static suddenly erupts from the servo skull, and you can make out Theodora's words through the noise. To arms, loyal sons and daughters of the God Emperor. Fight the heresy and the corruption that threatens to consume our home, and with all your might destroy those who have dared.
The Lord Captain is calling her crew to battle, which means the Vox networks are set up for broadcast transmission, not message exchange. Splendid. While the rogue trader inspires proper resolve to fight in her subjects, you and I shall prove that her trust in us is well deserved. Onward!
You will die out of my way to the dark.
Alright, let's just put you there, and me here.
You want some more?
We're gonna go like that. We can't move anymore. I was hoping we could head back and then cleave both of them. Oh, that's a setup for an easy 3-piece. Unless this guy pops one of his buddies. Oh. That happens actually an awful lot where these guys will have terrible accuracy and you'll just see them just TK for no good reason. It's actually saved me a lot of effort sometimes. Quick, let's see what loot we got. The last pistol's not bad because it has dodge reduction, but it is lower range and lower damage, so I don't see a lot of value in it. We could give it to Abelard, though, because then push comes to shove, he can also shoot if he can't get close. And then the swords are worse than the chainsword. And I believe the chainsword... Okay, it doesn't give any other bonuses. Some chainswords do. But we'll do a quick level up. For me... Yeah, might as well just start going through our... This is also really nice. If you look at... On the right here, we have the skill value, which is currently 40. Base value 0, plus 5 for Illustrious Glory. Characteristic bonus fellowship plus 35, and then you can see people in your party what their stat is. So if, let's say I had someone who had better warp skill, because the skill checks are based on everyone in your party, maybe I don't want to put into warp and have 2 people who are really good at warp skills when we're lacking someone with like persuasion. So this way I can say, okay, I don't have to worry, I'm going to go do this. And since this is kind of, this class is more fellowship oriented, I'm going to lean more into this stuff, because, like, the intelligence stuff, while good, the only one I would really do is to grab the skill for Xenos lore if I want to use Xenos weapons. But because I picked Forge World, I'm going to go with plasma weaponry. Which I know that's kind of a bummer if you wanted to see, like, Eldar stuff, but I'm just going to pick up the Eldar and the Dark Eldar characters and use them. So it's not that big a deal. But that's all we got for him. Abelard, we'll just do... I mean, either or, realistically. We'll just do Carouse for right now. Because we don't... No, we'll do Athletics initially, because we don't need Carouse as much, even though it is good. No, we'll do Carouse, because, yeah, it represents the ability to resist negative effects. Actually, because it's just a skill. We'll do Athletics. Because actually you do need Athletics a decent amount. Whenever you're clearing, like, rubble or anything like that. Oh, I didn't even realize, like, Abelard starts as an Iconoclast. Because you can do 3 different routes to take: Heretical, Dogmatic, or Iconoclast. I do Iconoclast. I might do a second personal character and actually do a Heretic run. And just be like, screw the Emperor, we're going all Chaos and Xenos. But I'll have to do that later. And yeah, there's nothing to the sides here. Like, where Conrad went, I don't know, because there's nothing on that right side. The left side is like a hatch, but you can't do anything with it. And if you check the map, there's no loot. We already picked up everything, because it'll be represented by these yellow boxes. To the Sanctum!
The Navigator's Sanctum is directly along the passageway. I pray to the God Emperor that we are not too late.
And so, he will enter the halls of the blinded guide and witness the radiance of the final dawn through the cracks and fall victim to a whim of fate.
Master, watch your head. Idira, would it be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Sorry, old man. The voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abelard, how they sing!
This is Idira Tlas, personal Psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship Theodora von Valencius. Idira?
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate, to die in the waves of the Immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn, and in the roaring blaze I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer.
The entity in your consciousness shrinks and crawls in deeper, its claws scraping against the walls of your mind as if the presence is trying to hide from the seer. Standing before you. A diviner, are you?
The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud. And you, von Valencius, are a sorcerer too, just like the other one. Lady Theodora must have grown so fond of Psykers she wants one to replace her.
You hear a few clicks from the hallway, from the relays on the servo skull, which has followed you all the way here, and Theodora's scrambled words give you a voice vaguely familiar to you. Officer's frequency. To all who can hear me, those with a weapon in their hands are to gather on the officer's deck at once. I repeat, gather on the officer's deck at once and prepare to launch a counterattack.
That's Edelstrat. Oh, Emperor's Providence. The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelstrad's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
Blast it. You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
How do you know who I am?
What? You think Lady Theodora didn't ask me to peek into the darkness behind the backs of those she sees as her prospective heirs? I have seen you. I have seen the footsteps of your past and the wounds of your heart.
The seer's words dredge up something dark and frightening from the depths of your memory. Your soul has been tainted by the influence of warp sorcery, and it seems you will never be rid of it. What are you doing here?
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the enginarium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master Cog, and the silence that followed.
What? You don't mean the Enginseer Prime is...
Said, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the navigator's sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks.
We must see if the navigator is well.
Oh no. No. Nothing is well about him. Can't you feel the chill crawling on your skin? The eyes watching you? The warp ice has already encased the bulkheads. What follows is calamity. But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive.
Nope, meant to grab the map. Well, I am going to call it here. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.